Still working with our 6" by 3" Azusalite wheels, and we had a reply from Gary Feltman. It was sometimes, or some things you can't scrimp on. You need strength where stress is the most. So I thank you, Gary, for replying and letting us expand on the conversation a bit. And I would say you're talking about putting stress on these bolts, whether it's trying to stop from the rotor or trying to go from like a sprocket. Alright, that's kind of why I noted how the bolt holes have nice thick walls and even built-in reinforcements from the side to side, which I thought were advantageous. And we got 3 of them, so it divides the stress 3 different ways. And then I also thought that with having a hub, I guess, or no, flange, I guess you would say, that spreads it out amongst the 3 and then transfers any stress to the hub, then up to your sprocket or whatever through another flange. And since the other side of the wheel is the exact same, it also helps to transfer the load across the entire wheel. So then as a whole, it's transferring the entire stress or load across to the other side as well. That was my thinking or reasoning. I guess we could even take this another direction. And maybe a 3D flange rather than a 2-dimensional flange. See, with a 3D flange would have these walls so besides the 3 bolts, now it's either direction, it's got 3 more points to spread the load, spread the stress, I guess you would say. Well, just a quick video to expand on the conversation a bit more with the stress we're going to impose on a plastic or composite wheel. But also part of the reasoning was in like an electrothon race, which what I have in mind for this brake system in these wheels, there's not a whole lot of braking. You got to have, you know, good braking capability in case of a crash or at the end of the race, but otherwise there really shouldn't be a whole lot of braking. So yeah, let me know what you think. Another thing I wanted to point out, or I was thinking, usually when you're designing something, you can either have strength through the materials or strength through the design. Or, in my opinion, an extra good design is when you can design it to where you're benefiting from the strength of the materials and the design. And like these simple flanges on this simple hub, they're just a piece of metal, flat plate, with a big hole drilled in it. And then for this is just for experimental purposes, but just welded on. So for the brake rotor or whatever, the force is transferred from this through to this just through those welds. No gear or key or anything like that. Whereas, like we were talking a little bit ago about our 3D hub, I guess you would call it, we are getting strength from the 3 bolts of the original plan, and also strength from these walls. So that's strength and design, and will be made out of metal or aluminum, but strength in the material also. Okay. Hopefully that made some sense, and thanks for further into discussion, and more to come.